In this video, we'll see how to get adjusted R-squared from the stepwise output. I'm using the body fat example dataset that's in the sample data directory. To start, let's get our stepwise output. I'm going to go to Analyze, Fit Model. I'm going to select % body fat as my Y, and for this example, I'm just going to select 4 of these predictors and put them into my model effects. I'll set the personality to stepwise and click Run. To obtain some models to compare, I'll go to the red triangle and request all possible models. Here, I'll allow the maximum number of terms to be 4 and click OK. By default, JMP prints out the R-squared for each of these all possible models. If I select one of these models, we are given the adjusted R-squared in the top panel. To obtain adjusted R-squared values for all of these models, we can simply use the formula for adjusted R-squared and apply it to this table. To do this, we need to turn this table output into an actual data table. To do this, we can right-click, select Make into Data Table. With this data table, we can now create a formula column that will use the available information here to calculate adjusted R-squared. To start, I'll double-click in a blank column and label this new column Adjusted R-squared. To apply a formula, I'll right-click this column and select Formula. The formula for adjusted R-squared is relatively straightforward. Here it is, with R-squared adjusted is equal to 1 minus R-squared times the number of observations minus 1 divided by the number of observations minus the number of parameters for the model minus 1. To enter this into the formula, we can simply use the point-and-click interface to create it in JMP. I'm going to start by clicking 1, clicking the minus sign, and then because I know I'm going to be doing a division, I'll click Divide right away. This will add in the upper and lower parts of that formula. To enter in this first piece, 1 minus R-squared, I'll type 1, hit the minus sign, and select the R-squared column. This will add in the column reference, so now for each row in this data table, we'll get the different values of R-squared to be evaluated. Now, to multiply this by n minus 1, I have to be selecting this entire upper portion. To do this, we can either click right between the 1 and R-squared, or on your keyboard, press the up arrow. When you press the up arrow, it'll select the outermost brace. This is a really useful thing to know with JMP formulas. Pressing the arrows will change what's being referenced. Here, I've selected the up arrow again, and I've selected the entire section there. I'll press the down arrow, and notice I've only selected the numerator. I'll press the down arrow again, and notice I've only selected the 1. So what we want is the upper part, the numerator selected. So now, when I click the multiply key, I'll have a new section multiplied by that entire internal piece. 1 minus R-squared evaluated, multiplied by, and in this case, n minus 1. N is referring to the number of observations in the original data table, which was 252 in this case. So I'll type in 252 minus 1 and click Enter. So now we have the numerator set up. To do the denominator, we'll click in the lower section here, make sure that's fully selected. I'll type in 252, the n from our data set, hit the minus sign here, which will give me a section in which I can now click for k. Now k is the number of parameters in the model, and our data table contains this, so I'll click Number. And now to get the 1, I'll put minus and type in 1. When I click off of this, you'll notice we have the entire formula set up the way we need it to be, and when I click OK, we'll get adjusted R-squared for each of these rows. So let's look at a complex model. Here with 4 parameters, the R-squared was 0.5326, but the adjusted R-squared is 0.525.